Hey, thanks for joining me for day 11 of our journey through the Bible. Today we're reading Job 29 through 31. And man, it's at this point that Job talks the longest he's talked so far, just completely. And he starts by reflecting and he says, man, I would do anything to go back in time. You ever felt that? It's like, remember how it used to be and these times? He's like, I would do anything to go back in time. And one thing there that really caught my attention, he says, I'd like to go back to when I was in the prime of my days. But you know what made it the best? He had lots of stuff. He had a great family, lots of possessions, lots of servants, lots of flocks, lots of wealth. But he said, when the friendship of God was over my tent, it wasn't that Job just had blessings from God. What mattered the most to Job was that God was his friend. Now, in this time, he'll go on and talk about how great everything was then. And then chapter 30, he's going to talk about how hard it is and how people disrespect him and people mock him and his friends ridicule him and give him trouble and falsely accuse him. And he feels like God's presence has left him, that his friendship is no longer there. And it really causes me to stop and think, when are the times where I feel like, hey, God's not present in my life. God's not at work in my life. Well, why did God leave me? When the truth was the whole time, God had not left Job. God had not brought all this calamity and hardship in Job's life. And so there's that reality that says, things are not always as they seem. And as Job continues to wrestle with that and talk about his friends and how they're beating him up and the loss that he's had, he says, you know what? Basically, this is the Ray Revised version. I'm tired of talking to you people. I just want to sit down and talk to God. And he says, I want to lay out my case for him and sign it at the bottom. And then I want to talk to God and say, God, will you answer me? Will you just tell me what it is? Will you tell me how to get back to where we were? And it's not even, I don't think, that Job's saying, God, I want all my stuff back. I think what Job is saying is, God, I want you back. I want my relationship with you back. And so I want to encourage you today as you read and as you go through your day to really focus on your relationship with God and to say, what do I want more than anything else? In Psalm 27, David will say, one thing I ask of the Lord, this is what I seek, that I could dwell in the house of the Lord all my days, to gaze upon God in the beauty of his temple, more than blessings, more than prosperity, more than good times. David said, God, I just want to be with you. And so I encourage you to have that heart. And today, to reach out to God, knowing that as you draw near to him, he'll draw near to you. Thanks for joining me.